When the dealership actually owns the workflow, it can actually outlast other dealerships that rent their software.
Dealers who own their workflow win. Dealers who rent their workflow stay dependent.
They're actually building things internally because it is becoming cheaper and easier, and they can handle the security and all those elements. Computer science majors, even coming out of the biggest universities and most prestigious universities in the US, they don't know how to code. But what they do know how to do is manage vibe coding tools.
Welcome back to another episode of the Car Dealer AI Show. Today, we're diving into something that could fundamentally change how dealerships think about software. For years, dealers have operated inside this SaaS model. You pay monthly, you wait for feature updates, you adjust your workflow around what the vendor allows. But what happens when that model starts to break? With platforms like Cloud Code, OpenClaw, and Google's anti-gravity, we're entering a world where building custom AI tools is no longer reserved for massive tech companies. Dealers might not have to rent software anymore. They might be able to build it. So, John, if dealerships could build any internal AI tool they wanted without waiting on vendor updates, what would that tool actually look like?
Yeah, well, first off, I think that this is going to be a massive shift in thinking across all industries, but dealers need to be thinking about it too right now. Many GMs are probably hearing this and saying, "Oh, I'm not that techie. I'll let the vendors do it." But the truth is, it is probably going to be something where some dealerships bring in an inbound or an in-house like marketing person or inbound IT person. I think a lot of companies will be shifting to actually bringing in an inbound AI engineer, or really they're just going to be calling them engineers soon. I think but all this comes down to vibe coding is actually making software easier and cheaper to develop. So instead of thinking about what vendors offer this, you're going to be thinking about what workflow do we want to own. So we've never had this mindset. We go online and shop, we go to NADA or digital dealer, driving sales. That's where we shop for the technology that can help power our dealerships. But what if you actually shifted that mindset real quick and said, what do I need? And can I build this for myself? And the competitive advantage that I think a dealership's going to get from this is when the dealership actually owns the workflow, it can actually outlast other dealerships that rent their software. They can become more powerful in ways that other dealerships don't have the ability to become because they're reliant on whatever third-party vendors are there. Now, I don't want to totally bash SaaS or service providers or technology providers. I do know that there's a lot of value to them because of the fact that they develop these things for years and years and years, and they just constantly get better. Dealership may or may not be as savvy, but they can definitely create some automations that are going to really improve the consumer shopping experience, or just their efficiency, or maybe AI training software, things that they can just develop in-house that they can actually just own themselves for whether it's domestic or international engineer. Let's just use like international engineers. So you have a virtual engineer, maybe it's anywhere between $1,000 to $3,000 a month. So then you think about all the subscriptions you pay for. What if instead you could have that one person that is just developing every piece of software that you own in-house? And so, Charles, I'm interested. What happens to traditional SaaS vendors if people are building these AI native built platforms for pretty easy and cheap?
Yeah, this is where things get a little uncomfortable. So feature-based SaaS companies are the first to feel the pressure. Because if I can use Claude Code or a platform like OpenClaw to spin up a custom AI tool in weeks, instead of waiting 18 months for a roadmap feature, why am I paying premium subscription pricing at that point? The old SaaS moat was built on scarcity, limited developers, long release cycles, vendor controlled ecosystems. AI just collapsed that barrier. Now you have faster iteration, store-specific builds, lower switching cost, AI-assisted development. The power dynamics shift, in my opinion. CRMs especially start feeling pressure because if dealers can't wrap AI around their own workflow, the CRM becomes infrastructure, not strategy. And here's the bigger principle. Software isn't the mode anymore. Distribution and data are. So workflow ownership is as well. Dealers who own their workflow win. Dealers who rent their workflow stay dependent.
I think some crazy things. Yeah, honestly, I think SaaS providers might have to shift how they build their software. I know you and I are even talking about this in our company, CarDealer.ai, is dealerships can't really easily DIY voice AI. And we've seen it happen and it becomes really low quality. But what they could do is have a company that builds a foundation and infrastructure. So as a SaaS provider, I think this is the way that we protect ourselves is they build a foundation and infrastructure and then allow dealerships to actually build on top of it. So instead of requesting or waiting for features, what if we could build in a way that makes the platform buildable to each individual user and customizable to each individual user? And you think about many platforms out there, like, Facebook, for example, and I can't build on it, but I can customize it to make the experience 100% unique to myself. And so making things a lot more reliable. I think if they did build internally, they would also have the benefit of owning their data. And instead of giving all that data to whatever providers they want, if they want that level of security, which I imagine a lot of large automotive groups are definitely going to be able to tackle this. Maybe not your mom and pop dealership, even though, to correct myself, one of our podcast episodes actually had a small rural dealership that was a GM that is building his own software in-house. I mean, he's selling maybe 50 units a month, and even at his level, he's able to really build systems for
Yeah.
himself.
So I think to touch on the point that you made, like if you're using another vendor's SaaS platform, whether you're doing it or the vendor's doing it, the SaaS platform is still capturing the data. So that's one take on it. And then I always struggle with whether or not that model. I think there needs to be an in between model, right? Because there are AI companies in the automotive space that are full SaaS, but the struggles that I hear from dealers is that they have to do it. They're already doing a lot as it is. So to be able to allocate time to make sure that you're executing a campaign or executing a strategy is just one more thing a dealer has to do. Whereas I feel dealers really value a partnership where they can just almost like send an email or pick up the phone and call you to execute a certain strategy. So, you know, being full SaaS where it's DIY, do it yourself, I question the longevity of that because I feel dealers look at partners as a true partner, almost like an extension of their team. They're hiring you to you're the SaaS platform. They're hiring you to they don't have time to execute all of this strategy, making sure it works, making sure it's compliance or compliant. They almost want to lean on you to do that. So they almost want to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I have this idea, right? And can you get it done? Can you get it executed? Or can your team get it done?" So I always question this full SaaS model of really allowing the dealership to just control it all, because then you just remove like your true value as a partner to that dealership. So, but definitely an interesting topic to think about, and interesting to see kind of like where that's going to go.
Super excited to see where that lands. I think that some innovators may say, "Hey, I do want to DIY, just like play around and try things." But we
Yeah.
know service providers are really valued. We know that their stuff is a lot more polished, a lot more compliant. The question is, will that instant gratification be desired. And you think of things like Amazon where you can just buy something today, but now let's take that into AI is we can go into ChatGPT and we can just quickly get the information or quickly do whatever we want. We think of platforms like OpenClaw, which is still really for techies, but that actually just got kind of acquired by OpenAI and is going to be put into public's hands soon. That has the power to, for those who don't know what OpenClaw is and what that can do, it is the human component of AI. So right now you're using AI to help you navigate, but instead this navigates on its own. It actually goes out, it uses your passwords, it uses your browser, it uses everything, API keys to actually just complete a job from A to Z. You give it a goal and it just doesn't come back until it's 100% done. Now, if that gets in the hands of public, they're going to want that instant gratification of even like feature builds because they've seen how easy it is to vibe code things. Now, what
Yeah.
do you think? How do you think any business owner really is going to react to that in terms of like what that means for the SaaS provider?
I think an important hire, maybe this is like a new hire, and it's probably why it's very important for the younger generation or to really lean in on learning how AI works, learning how to build and execute something for someone. It's whether that's a marketing director but there's going to need to be a specific person dealerships will need to hire that knows how to do this, right? It's going to be its own department, its own person, its own role to be able to execute, an idea from, A to Z from an AI standpoint, or know how to operate a specific SaaS platform to be able to execute a certain strategy. So yeah, I think that's going to be an important role for a dealership and an important hire. Otherwise, if we're just going to, allow dealers to think that they can execute something, I think it's going to take that specific person, that specific knowledge to make sure it works from A to Z, not only from an execution standpoint, but then you're going to need to pair that with like compliance as well. So yeah, it's just a bunch of just interesting things to think about.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many of those hires end up being more like a shared resource. And so
Yeah.
conversations today with OEMs and top 5 auto groups that when we're talking about AI, they're saying, "Oh, we're actually building something like that internally. Let me make sure that it doesn't compete with what we're building internally." And that's becoming a reality. We're actually competing against the fact that at the higher level, or we can call it kind of like the tier 2 level. I know that's not the word for it, but maybe tier 1 of the auto group and then tier 1 level at the OEM level. They're actually building things internally because it is becoming cheaper and easier and they can handle the security and all those elements. But the
Yeah.
service provider is gonna have to continue to find their value, just like in a previous episode where we were talking about how Amazon Autos could take over the dealership and allow OEMs to go direct to consumers instead of going OEM dealer listing on Amazon Autos and over to consumer. The dealer has to continue to provide their value, and so the service provider is going to have to. Everything's going to be changing. I don't think roles are going to be eliminated, but we all have to be very aware of what's happening to prepare for it.
I almost look at it like as a marketing director at a dealership right now, right? The marketing director isn't executing the marketing, so to speak. They're managing all the different vendors that it takes to execute a specific strategy. So I almost see like that hire or that role still leveraging other companies to make sure things get executed from a strategy standpoint. So, but yeah, definitely something to think about and watch out for.
Yeah, and the cost of this could just beat down the cost of certain tools out there, certain SaaS platforms, because the cost essentially is the infrastructure plus all the API pools and plus engineering. And engineering is a massive piece of that cost of
Yeah.
goods sold. Now, if that cost actually goes down significantly for the service provider, maybe dealerships never even feel the need to DIY these things because they
Yeah.
know this is just becoming more affordable. I think it's really interesting. I see a lot of articles of computer science majors even coming out of the biggest universities, the most prestigious universities in the US. They don't know how to code. But what they do know how to do is manage vibe coding tools and understand database infrastructure, front end versus back end, API calls, and allow AI to just do its thing. And you just need a manager for that, which means that that role ends up becoming a lot more affordable for this next wave of engineering hires.
Definitely. So if you love these types of conversations, please like, please subscribe. We're excited to bring it to everybody.